Life doesn't always go the way we hope. Sometimes it hurts so deeply that even breathing feels heavy. But happiness isn't about waiting for pain to disappear. It's about finding a light inside you that no hardship can touch. Today, I want to show you how to be happy, even when life hurts, by discovering strength through trust. Life doesn't always go the way we hope. Sometimes it hurts so deeply that even breathing feels heavy. Happiness doesn't begin by ignoring the pain or pretending it isn't there. It begins by sitting with it, naming it, and allowing yourself to feel fully without judgment. When we acknowledge our suffering, we open the first door to true healing, understanding, and the quiet strength that comes from facing life honestly. Even in the darkest moments, there are small blessings waiting to be noticed. Gratitude is not a denial of pain, but a gentle reminder that life still holds beauty, even in struggle. When we focus on what remains, rather than only what is lost, our hearts begin to find light again. It is in these moments of conscious gratitude that we discover that happiness does not depend on circumstances, but on perspective. Trust is the anchor that keeps us steady when life feels like a storm. We may not understand why certain challenges happen, but believing that every hardship carries a purpose allows the heart to rest. Letting go of control and releasing the need to force life to be fair does not mean giving up. It means freeing yourself to see the blessings hidden within struggle and allowing patience to guide your path. Acts of kindness, compassion, and generosity can transform the heaviness of our own hearts. Focusing on what we can give, rather than only what we receive, brings a sense of purpose and light. Speaking gently to ourselves, nurturing our inner dialogue with encouragement rather than judgment, allows us to heal gradually. In seeking meaning rather than escape, we discover that every challenge carries lessons and opportunities for growth. Happiness is not a constant state, but a practice cultivated through patience, trust, and connection. Surrounding ourselves with people and experiences that uplift our spirit strengthens resilience. And ultimately, by anchoring ourselves in faith and trusting that life's storms are shaping a stronger, wiser version of ourselves, we realize that happiness is not the absence of pain, but the presence of a heart that chooses hope, even in the midst of suffering. Even when life feels heavy, there are always small things to be thankful for, moments often overlooked in the rush of pain or stress. It could be the warmth of sunlight on your face, the comfort of a quiet moment, or the presence of someone who cares. Focusing on these small blessings does not diminish the challenges you face, but it allows your heart to remember that life still holds beauty, even amid suffering. Gratitude shifts the way we see the world. When we pay attention to what we have rather than what we lack, our perspective begins to change. The mind becomes less consumed with frustration and more open to recognizing the gifts hidden in everyday moments. Even in the midst of struggle, there are things that still shine. Reminders that life is not only pain, but also a series of small, quiet blessings waiting to be noticed. This shift is not always easy. Pain can cloud the heart, making it difficult to feel thankful for anything at all. But even acknowledging a single thing each day that brings comfort or joy is a step toward healing. Over time, these small moments accumulate, creating a gentle but powerful sense of contentment and resilience that supports happiness from within. And gratitude also allows the heart to grow stronger by teaching patience and acceptance. When we focus on what is present rather than what is lost or uncertain, we create space for hope. This does not mean ignoring difficulties, but rather recognizing that life is a mix of trials and blessings, and that happiness often grows quietly in the spaces between them. Ultimately, Cultivating gratitude is about training the heart to notice the good amid the pain, to see light even in darkness. It reminds us that life is not defined solely by what hurts, but also by what nurtures, comforts, and uplifts us. By embracing gratitude as a daily practice, we allow ourselves to feel joy even when circumstances are far from perfect. Life often unfolds in ways we do not expect, and at times it can feel unfair or confusing. When hardship strikes, it is natural to question why it is happening to us. But even in moments of pain, there is wisdom in remembering that every challenge carries a purpose beyond what we can immediately see. Trusting in a bigger plan allows the heart to find peace, even when the mind cannot fully understand the reasons. When we trust that life's struggles are part of a greater design, we shift our focus from frustration and fear to patience and reflection. It does not mean we will never feel sadness or anger, but it reminds us that the difficulties we face are not meaningless. Each obstacle can be a teacher, shaping our character, deepening our resilience, and preparing us for moments of joy and growth that we might not yet imagine. Trusting the bigger plan also frees us from the burden of trying to control everything. Life's unpredictability is often overwhelming because we try to force outcomes according to our desires. Letting go of this need to control every detail creates space for acceptance. It allows us to respond to challenges with clarity, grace, and hope rather than fear and resistance, knowing that there is a wisdom guiding the course of events. Faith in a larger purpose encourages us to see beyond immediate pain and disappointment. It reminds us that life is a series of moments, both bitter and sweet, and that the hardships we endure are temporary, while the lessons and strength gained are lasting. Trust is not passive. It is an active choice to believe that every tear and trial has meaning and that healing and growth are always possible. Ultimately, trusting the bigger plan is about surrendering to life's flow without losing hope. It allows us to carry our burdens lightly, knowing that challenges are shaping a stronger, wiser, and more compassionate version of ourselves. When we embrace this trust, happiness becomes possible even in the midst of pain, because we are anchored not in circumstance, but in faith that there is purpose behind it all. Many of us carry the weight of trying to control every part of our lives. We believe that if we can just manage the outcomes, we can avoid pain, disappointment, or failure. But life is unpredictable, and no matter how tightly we grip, some things are always beyond our reach. Holding on too tightly only creates anxiety and exhaustion, while letting go can bring a quiet freedom that allows the heart to breathe. Letting go of control does not mean giving up on life or ignoring responsibilities. It means recognizing the limits of what we can change and accepting what we cannot. When we release the need to force every detail, we open space for patience, wisdom, and clarity to grow. Life becomes less about struggling against the current and more about learning to navigate it with grace. When we stop trying to control every outcome, we become more present in the moment. Instead of worrying endlessly about what might happen, we can focus on what we can do right now. This shift allows us to respond to challenges with calmness and thoughtfulness rather than fear or desperation. It is in this space of acceptance that true happiness begins to take root, even in difficult circumstances. Letting go also builds trust. Trust in ourselves, in others, and in the larger flow of life. We learn that we are capable of handling more than we imagined, even when things don't go according to plan. We discover that peace is not found in controlling the world around us, but in embracing the rhythm of life as it unfolds, trusting that we can adapt and grow through every twist and turn. Ultimately, releasing control is an act of courage and faith. It does not make challenges disappear, but it transforms the way we face them. By letting go, We free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and allow happiness to exist alongside struggle. We learn that life is not about perfection or certainty, but about trust, resilience, and the gentle acceptance that some things are simply beyond our hands. When life feels heavy, it is easy to focus only on what we lack, on what has been taken from us, or on what we wish were different. Yet happiness often grows when we shift our attention outward, toward what we can give rather than what we receive. Giving does not have to be grand or extraordinary. Even the smallest acts of kindness, compassion, or support can create ripples that touch lives in ways we may never fully see. Focusing on giving reminds us that we are part of a larger story, one in which our actions matter beyond ourselves. When we help someone in need, offer a listening ear, or share a kind word, we create connection. These moments of generosity not only benefit others, but also nourish our own hearts, providing a sense of purpose and meaning that cannot be found in receiving alone. Giving also transforms our perspective on our own challenges. When we focus on how we can serve or uplift others, our burdens feel lighter. Pain does not disappear, but it becomes intertwined with purpose, creating space for gratitude, empathy, and resilience. The heart that gives finds strength even in hardship, because it is no longer consumed solely by what it lacks or what has gone wrong. True giving comes from sincerity and intention, not expectation. It is not about seeking recognition or reward, but about allowing the heart to flow outward. Even the simplest gestures, smiles, words of encouragement, or small acts of care can create profound impact. Each time we choose to give, we reinforce the truth that happiness is not a prize to be earned, but a practice of love and generosity that grows from within. Ultimately, focusing on giving reminds us that we are never truly alone in our struggles. Life becomes less about what we can hoard or hold on to and more about the light we can share. In giving, we discover a wellspring of joy and strength that persists even when circumstances are difficult, proving that happiness is not dependent on what comes to us, but on what we are willing to offer to the world. Many of us are our own harshest critics. We replay mistakes, dwell on shortcomings, and speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to a friend. This constant inner judgment weighs heavily on the heart, making it difficult to feel happiness or peace. Learning to speak kindly to yourself is not about ignoring your faults, but about treating yourself with the compassion and patience you deserve. When we practice self-kindness, we create a safe space within our own minds. Instead of fueling stress and self-doubt, gentle words encourage growth and understanding. A simple shift, reminding yourself that it is okay to struggle, that mistakes are part of learning, and that your worth is not defined by failure, can gradually transform your inner dialogue and nurture emotional resilience. Speaking kindly to yourself allows you to face life's challenges with greater courage. When the heart feels supported and the mind is free from relentless criticism, we can approach difficulties with clarity and balance. Kind words become a shield against despair, reminding us that we are capable of enduring hardships without being consumed by them. This practice also strengthens our capacity to show kindness to others. The compassion we extend inward naturally flows outward, creating deeper connections and a more empathetic perspective. By treating ourselves with care, we model a way of being that values human imperfection and honors the journey rather than only the outcome. Ultimately, speaking kindly to yourself is an act of love and acceptance. It transforms how we perceive our pain and our potential, reminding us that we are worthy of patience, forgiveness, and peace. In cultivating this gentle inner voice, we allow happiness to emerge not from perfection, but from the recognition that our hearts deserve nurturing even in the midst of struggle. When life hurts, it is natural to want to run away from the pain, to distract ourselves with anything that takes our minds off suffering. But true happiness does not come from escape or avoidance. It comes from looking inward, facing our challenges, and seeking the deeper meaning hidden within them. By asking ourselves what lessons can be learned, we transform pain into an opportunity for growth and understanding. Seeking meaning requires courage. It asks us to pause, reflect, and confront our feelings rather than suppress them. Every hardship carries insight, sometimes about ourselves, sometimes about the world, and sometimes about the greater purpose of life. By exploring these lessons, we uncover strength we didn't know we had and begin to see that our struggles are not pointless, but part of a larger journey that shapes who we are. When we focus on meaning rather than escape, our perspective shifts. Life's difficulties are no longer just obstacles, but invitations to grow, to develop patience, resilience, and empathy. We start to notice that even in pain, there is something to be gained, a way to rise above circumstances, and a chance to align more closely with our values and purpose. Seeking meaning also transforms the way we experience happiness. It reminds us that joy is not the absence of difficulty, but the presence of understanding, acceptance, and growth. When we find purpose in struggle, our hearts feel lighter, even amidst pain. Happiness becomes a deeper, more lasting state, rooted in the knowledge that our experiences, however painful, contribute to our journey and our character. Ultimately, choosing meaning over escape is an act of empowerment. It turns suffering into insight and transforms challenges into opportunities for the soul to expand. By embracing this perspective, we learn that life's trials do not have to diminish our joy, and that even in hardship, we can find a sense of peace, clarity, and hope that carries us forward. The people, environments, and energy we surround ourselves with have a profound impact on our hearts and minds. When life feels heavy, it is easy to become consumed by negativity, doubts, or toxic influences. Choosing to surround yourself with positivity does not mean ignoring reality or pretending that hardships do not exist. It means intentionally creating a space that uplifts, inspires, and strengthens your spirit even when challenges arise. Being around positive influences helps the heart to heal and the mind to stay focused on hope. This could be in the form of people who encourage, motivate, and support you, or it could be through experiences, stories, and reminders that bring light to your day. When our surroundings reflect encouragement and care, our resilience grows, and we are better equipped to face life's difficulties with calmness and confidence. Positivity also helps us shift our perspective. When we are constantly exposed to negativity, fear, or criticism, it becomes easy to feel trapped and hopeless. But choosing to engage with uplifting energy teaches the mind to see possibility, to recognize blessings even amidst struggles, and to approach life with hope rather than despair. It is a conscious way of training the heart to focus on what nourishes rather than what drains. Creating positivity is not only about external influences, but also about internal practices. Our thoughts, habits, and self-talk all contribute to the energy we carry. By cultivating gratitude, hope, and kindness within ourselves, we amplify the positive impact of our surroundings. Even a small daily habit, listening to encouraging words, reading inspiring stories, or reflecting on uplifting memories, can transform the way we respond to life. Ultimately, surrounding yourself with positivity empowers you to navigate challenges with a lighter heart. It does not make pain disappear, but it provides a foundation of strength, hope, and encouragement that allows happiness to exist alongside difficulty. By carefully choosing the people, environments, and influences we embrace, we create a space where resilience, growth, and inner peace can flourish even in the most trying times. When life feels uncertain or painful, faith becomes the anchor that steadies the heart. Trusting that there is a greater purpose beyond what we can see allows us to face challenges without being overwhelmed by fear or despair. Faith is not the absence of doubt, but the willingness to believe that even in difficulty, we are being guided toward growth, healing, and eventual peace. Trust gives the heart courage. It allows us to move forward even when the path is unclear or when answers are not immediately visible. By placing our confidence in something larger than ourselves, we shift the focus from worry and frustration to acceptance and hope. This trust does not erase struggles, but it provides the strength to endure them with resilience and grace. Anchoring ourselves in faith also changes how we perceive hardship. Pain is no longer meaningless or purely destructive. It becomes part of a journey that shapes our character and deepens our understanding of life. When we trust that difficulties carry lessons or hidden blessings, we can face them with patience and an open heart, finding light even in the darkest moments. Faith and trust help us maintain balance when life feels chaotic. They remind us that no matter what storms arise, we are not alone and that there is an order to the world, even when it seems uncertain. This perspective allows us to respond to challenges calmly and intentionally rather than reacting with fear or despair, giving space for inner peace and resilience to grow. Ultimately, anchoring ourselves in faith and trust transforms our relationship with life's struggles. It allows happiness to coexist with pain and strength to emerge from vulnerability. By trusting the journey, we learn that joy is not merely the absence of difficulty, but the presence of hope, patience, and unwavering faith that every trial carries meaning and every heart touch can eventually give way to peace. Faith and trust are the foundation that keeps the heart steady when life feels uncertain or heavy. Even when circumstances seem overwhelming, believing that there is a higher purpose or wisdom behind every challenge allows us to face each day with courage. Trust does not mean life will always be easy, but it gives the heart a sense of stability amid the chaos, reminding us that we are not alone in our journey. Anchoring ourselves in faith helps us navigate fear and doubt. When we cannot see the full picture, trust allows us to move forward with confidence. Knowing that each trial carries meaning beyond our understanding, it is this belief that enables us to take one step at a time, even when the road ahead is unclear, and to hold on to hope when circumstances feel impossible. Faith also transforms the way we experience pain. Instead of viewing hardship as purely destructive, we begin to see it as a teacher, shaping our character and deepening our resilience. Each difficulty becomes an opportunity to strengthen our trust, to find patience within ourselves, and to discover that even in struggle, the heart can find light and clarity. Trust encourages surrender without giving up. It allows us to release the burden of controlling every outcome, understanding that not everything is in our hands. By letting go and placing confidence in something greater, we cultivate inner peace and allow our hearts to rest even while challenges persist. This surrender does not mean weakness. It is a profound act of strength, wisdom, and acceptance. Ultimately, anchoring ourselves in faith and trust brings a sense of calm and hope that no hardship can take away. It teaches us that happiness is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of belief that life's trials have purpose and that every difficulty can be transformed into growth, strength, and eventual peace. By holding on to faith, we find the courage to endure, the patience to wait, and the resilience to rise above any circumstance. Remember, happiness is not the absence of pain, but the presence of hope, trust, and resilience within your heart. Life will always have its trials and moments when it feels unbearable, But every hardship carries a lesson. Every struggle shapes your strength, and every tear can water the seeds of joy. Choose to trust the journey, embrace the growth, and allow your heart to find light even in the darkest moments. In this way, happiness becomes not a distant destination, but a companion walking with you through every challenge, guiding you gently toward peace and fulfillment.